Guy here. Welcome to my Let It In podcast. And I'm doing a solo podcast today. I made a commitment for 2026 that I actually wanted to just get in front of the mic and speak from the heart. I got no transcript in front of me. I'm just looking at the camera. There's no AI prompting me, telling me what to do. Though I do have show notes over here, if you're wondering. But I've really felt an urge to share with you what I've sort of experienced from now running. I've co-facilitated 31 retreats. So our first conception of Live in Flow was 2019. If you're not familiar, I started this podcast, Let It In, at the beginning of 2018. And in 2019, I teamed up with Matt Omo, who is an amazing man. He's like my brother, my dearest friend, the family, and Petra Brozovic, who's like my sister, and beautiful souls as well. And we created Live in Flow. And through that facilitation, bringing our own individual skills together, over the years, we've been working in front of people as individuals and as a collective. And not only that, we've been able to learn from each other and explore and continue to evolve and develop the work that we do and constantly refine it. And it just keeps moving. It's like this freight train that keeps moving, right? So even though I have this podcast, and if you're engaged right now and watching with me, it's kind of secondary in some ways to what I actually do. Not that you would know that if you only listen to the podcast, right? But it's a beautiful way of reaching people. I truly believe in paying it forward. And hence why I love having conversations with awesome people from all around the world and be able to share it with you guys if you're listening to right here and now. But the reason why is that I wanted to kind of dive into a little bit of what I've observed over time. One of the most valuable lessons for me, and hopefully this will help you today, right? That's the whole point of it, that you can start to take on board. Anyway, it's just my opinion, okay? This is not advice. This is just purely me contributing my thoughts and feelings, and do what you want with them. But when I worked in the health and fitness industry, for many, many years before I was doing this, one of the biggest aha moments I had was I ended up working with people with cancer, and I was doing weight training programs for people that had chronic disease. So strength training was a big component of helping that rehabilitation. Now, this wasn't done through mainstream medical systems. This was done through charity work and done through, I guess, alternative that was deemed at the time. And this was going back, gosh, I think about 2007, 2008. So that's starting to show my age now, but a long time ago. But what was happening was I was starting to see a real kind of divide in my belief system from what I'd been taught culturally through my family, through, schooling, everyday life, to what I was actually starting to witness in working with people with cancer. And you're like, well, what have you been taught? Well, it's like this constant bombardment of affirmation and information that's subtly going in about what you think is around health, nutrition, what's good and what's not good for you, and things like that. And I didn't really question anything. And around about this time with the working with people with cancer, what they were actually doing things that felt, like I said, taboo, which was removing sugars from their diets, getting them to do weight training, getting them to remove all toxins from their life. So, think about the amount of toxins and chemicals that have been introduced into our food stream, into our products that we use on our bodies, into our houses. Like, it's crazy that all these little microtoxins are filtering the body all the time. And, there's an allostatic load to this, that things start to affect the body, right? And they were getting them to eat back to basics. They were cutting out vegetable oils, cutting out hydrogenated oils, things that have been heated and destroyed, and really trying to encourage people to eat as if your grandparents did back from the farmlands, and getting as close to the source of the food as possible before it was. Now, it's like, well, first of all, what do you think was the first thing I started doing? It was that, right? And it was going against many of the things because I was eating your classic, low fat diet, low fat yogurt. I was counting my calories. I was doing things. I was drinking the protein shakes, all this kind of stuff. And what's the point of this? The point is that once I started having these aha moments, because I was actually seeing with my own eyes the effects of what this was doing to people's lives over the long term, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year period and things like that. And also the effects it was having on my life, on how I felt. So I didn't really need confirmation from scientific papers or this or that. And, people were going on, because I'll never forget, there was a journalist at the time, Sarah Wilson, her name is, and she wrote an article around called I Quit Sugar. I think it was out, I can't remember. And she got slammed, absolutely slammed, about questioning sugar in itself, right? And we're not talking about eating a piece of fruit. I'm talking about like a hot topic of sugar is insidious and is added to everything in the sweet tooth, right? And I couldn't believe it. And the arguments that were happening online and the way they were trying to bring it down and justify all these actions was crazy, crazy. So what it showed me was that there really is self-exploration is needed. It's really one of my superpowers is just being curious, is actually just wanting to explore, be open-minded, take it all on board, but start to apply things myself to see if there's an improvement or if there's a better, if it betters my life in some way. And if it doesn't, I let it go and I move on. But I'm always out there exploring, as opposed to just throwing rocks at this is good, this is bad. And because it is rubbing up against one of my unconscious beliefs that I might not know. Do I get triggered? Yes, of course. Do things rub up against me? Absolutely. But I still have enough awareness and have developed that to start to explore the self. I hope that makes sense. So not that I'm rambling here. So why is that important? Because now through Live and Flow and what I was seeing in my own journey through applying spiritual practices, especially from about 2012 onward, even the first from 2000 onwards, I was reading the books and just, letting the information seep in kind of thing. But then there was a point where I was right actively starting to explore different practices, different shamanic practices, going to different retreats, starting to explore different breathwork techniques, starting to explore different meditations, starting to paint a picture of my own, for my own self, about the working mechanics in, because I'd obviously, through that experience with cancer people, I ended up releasing a natural protein powder that as a company. And now everyone at the time were questioning it. Like people around me, what is that? Nobody had seen it. I can't even believe that we were the still first people to bring a natural protein powder made out of real food to the market in the fitness industry. It's called 180 Nutrition. You can look it up online. The company is now closed. It got bought out and got ruined, basically. But I'm sure there's still evidence of it online somewhere. Anyway, the point being is that I could see these patterns starting to emerge, and it's like, this is what's happening. And I really believe this is what's happening right now with us as individual people, consciousness, awareness, this whole space. Because through those individual practices, I had profound shifts in my own life. And I was starting to see that. And then I could really start to see the effects of trauma, the effects of the unhealed energetic patterns within us, those wounds, ancestral wounds, things that get passed down as well. All these things were starting to really come into play. And through that self-exploration, it was really having profound impacts on my life, because ultimately chasing the dollar, trying to make an impact with the supplement company only got me so far, and I was still deeply unhappy. And I was still deeply seeped in childhood traumas that I didn't know about, that were affecting my very being. And I just thought it was my personality. And I just thought that's who I was. And it couldn't have been further from the truth. So as those were getting released, I was seeing the health benefits as well, even though I worked in the health industry, even though I was focusing on my nutrition, on my exercise, and the things that, I guess talked about online. The moment I started going deeper underneath again, the shifts were monumental. And these shifts still occur. I believe awakening is a journey. It's not a destination. It really is. Anyway, so through that, it gave me profound excitement to really start to look at how I could get this information out there in a way that was digestible, grounded, and applicable for people so they can make true change in their lives. That's what happened. So through that, I started by myself. And then on that journey, I met Matt, Petra, and we created Live and Flow and furthermore. Now, fast forward to today, which is, I'm recording this, it is February 2nd, 2026. We've ran 31 retreats. We've had over 1,000 people come through those retreats. Now, those retreats, we spend 5 days together in a container, okay? And not only that, we've been running one-day events. Some are 4 hours, some are 8 hours long in the one-day introductory events as well, up and down Australia and New Zealand. We've done the odd one in Croatia as well, which is fantastic. My dream's to do one back in Wales one day, if you'll have me. But the point is now is that through those containers of holding space for other people and helping apply the teachings that have helped me individually as a person and through an experiential and applying it in my life, it's not just lip service. Everything I speak of and share is something that I've also explored in myself and do my best on a daily basis to live from that. I get to see things. I get to witness things. I get to observe common patterns that are starting to present themselves over time. So for me, that is all I need evidentially, really, for me to have a deeper understanding of it. Per se, that if I'm just reading a Facebook post, if I'm just seeing a YouTube video, and if I'm just taking it for gospel from someone else, or this is how it is, we can quickly find information that actually just supports our internal beliefs, and we can continue to perpetuate a particular perspective on reality and life. And how I don't really know how much is that serving us long term. So the point being is that through this exploration and what I'm seeing, it blows my mind that this isn't mainstream information, that everybody doesn't know about this, and this isn't taught in schools, this isn't taught through our teens, and this isn't taught in adulthood as well. It takes individual people to go, fuck this, I've had enough, excuse my French, but that's what it has actually come to go, I want to make a change and do something different about it. So, and that's what's happening. So one of the first things, and one of the key things is what I've witnessed in all of that as well, is around the word healing. And I truly believe now that for the body to heal, healing is a process. It's not a destination that I'm healed and I can go back on my life. It's about a maintenance of homeostasis. It's about the body running efficiently and effectively, and through that it can actually start to upgrade and it can evolve. Okay, so if you give it the right set of input and instructions, it can evolve. But if you haven't been looking after your temple, if you haven't been looking after your body, it really can be struggling, and it has to deal with the overload of things that are holding it back. But if you give your body the right environment, it knows what to do. Our bodies are miracles. And by setting it up in the right environment, it can actually reorganize itself. But not only does it reorganize itself, it can reorganize itself at a higher and higher levels. Through that, we can actually evolve our relationship to consciousness. Because I believe consciousness is external, and we're using the body as a vehicle as a home for this temporary space of time to house our consciousness in it to actually experience life, reality. That might be shocking for some. That might be going, yeah, of course, guy, I listen to podcasts all the time. That's what I believe, right? So, and one of the key fundamentals with that, and this is not to attack anyone because I'm not really in for that, but we're not. What tends to happen is with ourselves, if we have any symptoms, if we have any problems, if we have any issues arise, maybe skin, gut, all sorts of challenges, we automatically go to the physical and we automatically go to treat the symptom. We don't look at the last 30 years. We don't take a case history of our entire lives and look at along the way what could have been affecting that. Okay, and now it's showing up here. And what I've witnessed time and time and time again is one of the biggest factors for that body to be able to help reorganize itself is the autonomic nervous system. The nervous system is what maintains the homeostasis of the body. It's governing you, and it's hooked up to the hypothalamus in the brain. And through there, which is the record keeper, is the way we're actually perceiving, judging, and then storing information can actually start to affect the nervous system as itself. And that has been taking on information its whole life. And all it's trying to do is keep you safe. And it gets into certain patterns and behaviors that, and quite often it can atrophy to certain aspects of the nervous system. And over time, your body is unable to recalibrate itself naturally. You know, cells turn over all the time. And if it's not getting the right set of instructions, if it's constantly in fight or flight, if it's in a freeze mode, or if there's a disassociation from the traumatic responses and you're not fully energetically present in your body, cells can start to struggle and die off over time, and problems can occur. So one thing what we've witnessed constantly is that when you start to address the body, not only from the physical, but from the emotional aspects, the mental aspects, and the spiritual aspects, and you can use like the nervous system as a gateway in, as the filter. Once you start to work with those things, if the body feels safe enough, if you create a true environment of safety and feeling held and knowing that you are held and it is safe to start to surrender into those responses that the body has conditioned itself through all our experiences in our life, amazing transformations can occur. The moment then all of a sudden a reorganization can take place, there can be a release of energy, there can be a disbursement of it, and then that energy can start to flow again. Energy is meant to be flowing, not pushed up against, resistant to, or stagnant. But we allow the mind to get in the way of that. And we're constantly putting our judgments, our perceptions, our beliefs on top of that, which is keeping us locked in, as opposed to just a presence of being and allowing the body to unwind of it. But you've also got to set up an environment for that to occur, because if your daily environment isn't conducive to you feeling safe, or creating practices because you're constantly on the go, you have a high stress job or whatever it might be, then you're constantly up against it. That's the way it is. So this leads me into the second thing, is why we create retreats, because then we create in these beautiful safe containers that we can take somebody out of and actually plonk them in an environment completely removed from their everyday life. And it's through that then they can start to remember who they really are. Start to come back to the heart of it all. Start to come back to what really matters, the key essence of it. And through that held container, then the shifts can start to occur at whatever pace is needed and necessary at this point in time. It's amazing. Now, through that then bringing into a held container, I look at it like a spiritual boot camp. So I always look at, go back to health and fitness. Two things were required. I always used to say, I had thousands of clients, saw them over the long period. And I always say, two things are critical. If you come to the gym and you exercise, great, right? You might come 3 times a week, or you come for a weekend boot camp, where you really push the body. But if you're not doing incidental fitness during the day, every day, like walking, moving the body, mixing things up, so you're not just stagnant and sitting down all the time, it's going to help. And then if you start to bring in different lifestyle choices, different nutritional choices, and start looking at the holistic picture, then everything starts to change, right? But if you're just going to the gym and you're still going and sinking all the beers like you normally would on a Friday night, and eating your takeout food and not looking after yourself, and thinking that the gym is going to help you. It's not. You're actually creating more stress. So you want to create an environment where synergistically everything is moving in the same direction. Everything is starting to harmonize with what your heart and soul want. So there's no conflict in those areas. Does that make sense? So why am I saying this is because then the retreats, what we've found is like a spiritual boot camp. So what happens is that you can create a really beautiful container of safety. And in those 5 days, you can really start to move the needle in one's body. And what can happen as well, you're creating new reference points for the body to learn from. So within that dynamic, the body can really create some great shifts. And we've seen some, what could be perceived as miracles from the outside world, but as everyday life from us, where you see, it's so common where you see, I've had this back pain, this chest pain, this shoulder pain. Like pain is an obvious one, right? The pain's there and then it's gone. So all of a sudden it's very visceral and real. We see that all the time, all the time. We've had reports of cancer disappearing, tumors gone, different elements. The moment that the emotional impact that was behind something was able to free itself and that energy be liberated, then shifts have occurred. Does it happen to everyone? No, of course not, because there's other factors. There's factors on what's your incidental spiritual fitness look like? What are you doing in everyday life? Are you actually applying things on a daily basis? Do you have mentors and guidance, and are you held accountable? Are you moving in that direction? When working with athletes, what have all top-end athletes got? They all have a coach. They all know what to do, right? They all know how to apply themselves and push themselves really hard. But without that reflection, without that someone coming back, seeing their blind spots, nothing ever changes. So if you're constantly not putting yourself in environments where you get challenged and where you want to develop, then of course it becomes much, much harder from that. Anyway, where was I going with this? So, so these are things that I was saying. So what I'm encouraging you to do already is start to think about your health journey from a nervous system perspective and from an energetic perspective, and start to look at ways of that you can start to apply that in amounts on a daily basis, but then also look at how you can come to bigger events like the ones we run to really submerge yourself in from that. Because the other thing that's not spoken about as well is connection. And it's very easy. The amount of people that we've had come to our retreats through sheer pain, right? That they're in sheer pain and let me think about this for a sec. Now, they might not like people very much. They've got no faith in people. And their reality is very different to the reality that we create in the retreats. And what that does is it avoids a certain connection, I feel, because connection is a critical component to longevity and healing. And when you think about connection, we broke it down to 4 different aspects. One is connection to self. What is your connection to self like? And you might be there. If you go to the mind all the time, you're always going to get an answer. The mind will make any shit up just to give you an answer. But go to your body. What does your body feel? How connected to your body are you feeling? Are you listening to it? Are you really spending time with yourself, getting to know yourself at a deeper level? And are there aspects of your body and your heart and soul are crying out to grab your attention, but you continue to suppress it? You don't stop to actually give it space to listen because you've got this belief system of fear of what it might reveal. Because once you start to really connect with yourself, then you're opening yourself up to connect with others. But so often, and what I've witnessed, is that because we're not truly connected to ourselves, we then use that disconnection from ourselves, even though we tell ourselves we are. And we look through a certain lens, which keeps us disconnected from other people, or keeps us in a space where we're judging other people constantly, because then that's creating an emotional state within our body that for some reason we see that as a protective mechanism. Because then once you start to connect with others, you can really start to open up as well then. So the more you connect with yourself, the more you'll feel connected to others, or like-minded people anyway. And then, of course, there's connection to earth, connection to nature. Nature is extremely healing. I challenge you, go and spend a week in nature and see how you feel when you come out of it the other side, right? And then connection to spirit and connection to source. And I believe they're all necessary, they're all needed, and they're all connect with one another. And through that evolving of connection, it deepens our practices, and the more we feel connected to everything, earth and plane and source. And it's through the harmonization we can really be in a place of presence and being, which of course diffuses the charge from that anxiety, that that preempting of what's coming, or of course those heavier emotions of the past, those feelings of depression that can keep occurring as well, because we keep even though the event has moved on, the body is still holding that charge from those certain events. So as we release those charges, our nervous system creates a space to regulate, let's say. So this has not gone the way I was expecting. I'm just speaking from the heart here. I hope that's okay, and I hope you're getting something from this. But they are certain things to really consider and start to reflect upon in your own life if they resonate. Because what happens as well when you bring people together, once you start to explore the heart, and the heart is beyond the mind, so there is no logic here. And when you start to energetically open your heart, and when you do that as a group, it's like an orchestra of musical notes, and when you start playing them, there's an amplification, there's a rhythm. Or if you go to a rugby match, which I would have done, or when you got a big crowd and the crowd start going, there's an energetic pulse that can come from it. You can feel it. It's visceral, just like a thunderstorm that comes in, right? You can feel it changing. Well, you can actually, the techniques is that as you open the heart fields and teach people how to do that, and you can merge those heart fields, and then you can start to synergistically start to create bigger toruses of energy, bigger energetic fields in a place. And it's through that energetic lifting, it's like a rising tide, that can then also start to oscillate anything within the body, because we are all energy at the end of the day. And anything that's not in resonance will want to start to, when it's ready to leave and the body feels safe enough, that energy will want to shift as well, which is magical. It's amazing. But what even blows my mind is that as that happens, and as we develop our awareness and awareness shifts, and we start to develop sensory perceptions beyond the five senses, because as from a cellular and DNA level, they can adapt and respond, and you can actually start to take on more light. Now, this is just from my experience, remember, right? And there are people talking about this. I'm not the only one, that's for sure. But I'm experiencing it. And what is happening is that you start to, it's almost like you can bring your own field more into form. It's like a crystallization of it. And through that form, you start to create more sensory experiences and more other, as we are perceiving such a small amount of reality at any given time, less than 1%, right? Through our senses. But what's going on with the other 99%, okay? And from there, what is happening, there are different energetic beings and different presences that want to support us, that actually work with energy in the non-physical at different dimensions, and are coming in and are actually then working with us. Because once we create that muscle memory, that DNA memory, that cellular memory, if you've got your ducks in a row in terms of what you're doing in your daily life, what you're doing in the spiritual gyms per se, and you're merging all these things together, over time your body's going to adapt and respond from that by having these regular practices. So then you can start to lift your frequencies more and more, and that expansion comes out. And those beings can then start to meet you, and then you can start to really experience something That's not going to happen in your normal everyday life. So what blows my mind is that when we have a group of 40 or 50 people come to a retreat and we come together for 5 days from all walks of life, we've had lots of police officers come through in the past, people that work in hospitals, nurses, we've had teachers, gardeners, doctors, tugboat drivers, you name it, office workers, entrepreneurs, people, everything you can name of. Once you get beyond the conditioned mind and what society is constantly bombarding and projecting at you of how you should think you should be and all that, and once you remove yourself from that and dehypnotize yourself and you get an environment of other heart-centered people that genuinely care and have empathy and compassion for one another and don't really give a shit what you do for a living or how you dress or what your persona is, but what you emanate from here, how you express yourself. And when you find your way back to that emanation of who you really are, magic happens and it's beautiful. And why wouldn't you want to then take that back into your life more and more? What I see is happening in the world right now, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of constant bombardment from media, from the news, from the fear. It's just constant. And the way I see it is the only way we're going to make it a shift is how we show up as individuals, how we show up on a daily basis for ourselves, for our loved ones, our friends, the community at large. And by making conscious choices for ourselves, we can make a difference. We really can. I'm making a difference. I know that for a fact. Okay. And I'm only making a difference because I said yes to myself. I said yes to my heart and soul. And I thought, I'm done with that old self. I'm done with it. I'm done with the noise in the head and the emotions and the feelings in the body that feels sabotaging. I'm done with throwing rocks at other people and pointing the finger and blame and everything else, and just taking on the responsibility, 100% ownership. And the only person that can change me is me. And through that, I'm wanting to pass on what I've learned so far that's helped me along the way to other people that are ready to invest in themselves and learn as well and show up for themselves on a daily basis. Anyway, I've been talking for over 30 minutes. If you're still with me, thank you. I hope you got something out of that. So yeah, let me know what you think of this podcast. Yeah. Hopefully I will get to meet you somewhere in person someday. I say that all the time, but it's true. It's true. Here I am in my little studio in Port Macquarie at the moment. But yeah, we're going to be in Bali in end of June for 5 nights mastering your inner mystic. We're in a beautiful resort. Everything is fed for you. You don't have to do a thing except show up for the processes, be yourself, and be willing to say yes. I'm ready to lean in and see what's possible. So if that's you, come and join us wherever you are in the world. Last year we had people from, where did we have people from? America, Ireland, UK. I think we had one or two from Germany come. Obviously Australia, New Zealand. It's amazing, international. People from all of there. If you find yourself intimidated by traveling, even better. Like, get on an adventure. Like, life's short. Honestly, you won't regret it. Anyway, let me know if you got something out of this. I love you. I hope to meet you someday soon. Like my t-shirt says, like that. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. The universe. All right, much love. See you soon.
Flow. Yes, divine flow.
Divine flow, what comes to me?
Divine flow. Presence.
This is Bali, land of ancient gods, where mystical wisdom is hidden in plain sight, and where nature is present and powerful in every step you take. A place where the flow is embodied in the amazing waters, the thriving greenery, and the deep spirituality of the people, and the solemnity of their temples. This is Bali. This is where we chose to host our last master your inner mystic retreat, and the experience was beyond words. A true revelation for all of us. We witnessed the dawn, the sundown, the rain. We immersed ourselves in the beauty outside and within, and through life-changing moments, a true bond was forged, a community that is living in flow.